Hey guys, Artosis here, and I am excited to be bringing you the round of 4. We are almost done the CNSL Season 6. We're going over to best of 7 mode, so may the better player win. My gosh, in a best of 7, you are really testing each other with what you've got up your sleeve in the matchup. You really have a full range of maps and attempts to show what you can do. And so it should be an excellent series. Here for our first one, we're going to be going into Soso. He'll be going up against YSC. So some truly excellent games I'm expecting out of here. Vermeer is going to be our first map. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they are going to show us. You know, they're both very deep in the tournament. Soso has been the last Terran for the last couple rounds. And doing well. In fact, might be my favorite to end up winning this event. In fact, I don't even mind his matchup against YSC. YSC is pretty strong PvT, but I think that Soso, he has really his own style in this matchup. And I'm excited to see which, like, how he does it, right? So, for instance, one thing Soso likes quite a bit, this to me looks like he's going to do a gaseous expand. We'll see. But one thing he likes quite a bit, for instance, is sometimes he'll go 3 depots instead of 2 before the command center. It's actually something I've picked up from him that I really, really like. And in fact, he is going gas. Okay, never mind. So that we might end up seeing that, and I'll talk more about that if we get there. Now, YSC scouting cross map here on Vermeer, which is going to find him right away. So that's, I mean, you got to feel pretty good if you're sending your scout across the map and you find your opponent first. So YSC going to probably confuse Soso a little bit here with this quick scout. And yeah, I mean, he's just going to be able to get good intel and, you know, some light harassment here as well. Very annoying as a Terran player to deal with that, of course. Continues to attack in with that SCV. Actually getting a lot of damage. A little bit sloppy there by YSC. He's going to have to pull out with that probe. Doesn't want to end up losing it with a Marine on the way. Excuse me. Not many options, to be honest. Okay, SCVs. Well, I'm not sure. I guess he's got to go scout, actually. This is something kind of interesting. When a probe comes into your base early, okay? Terran build orders are accounting for 1 SCV to not be mining. That's not building a building, obviously. It's your scout SCV. So when the probe gets there early and you fight against that probe, if you don't want to skip either a Marine, which you never want to skip the Marine if a probe's in your base, because that's what actually pushes out, or an SCV, which hurts your economy, then oftentimes what you'll do is you'll just skip scouting so you can keep your build order on track and just utilize 1 SCV to push the probe back, the one that would have been scouting. But in this case, it's making the scout extremely late. Now, the probe came relatively early. Let's see if Soso goes around the map this way, or if he goes for the very popular end scout where he goes cross map like that. Do we have the 3rd depot? No, it looks like he is going to go ahead and just do a Vulture expand, which is going to be very good for him here because this is a cross spawn, very fast Nexus. He is getting a Dragoon here, but of course something very hard to actually attack cross spawn. It's just not generally going to work out well. Now the Vulture gets out, add-on here, and probably going to be for mines, but we'll see what he picks up doing. A lot of SCVs backing gas rather quickly there as well, just something to note. Starport, perhaps? Aha! All right, very popular right now in TVP to open up with Starport builds. You know, I think a lot of players like to try to get some harassment down on Protoss. You know, some of the just very straight and strict quick armory builds are pretty hard to play against Protoss nowadays because they can either go very heavy greed or very heavy aggression against that, and both can be difficult to deal with. It can be difficult to sight. Whereas when you have a dropship, if you use it nicely, if you use it well, it's really hard for your opponent to be able to take any bases really quickly. It's hard to do, you know, any sort of counterattacks or anything like that because you're going to have enough at home, generally speaking, and good info as to what they're doing. Now, you can see he's actually skipped the bunker, so some very good reads. YSC staying back, just making the Dragoons. This is going to allow him, without that bunker, to just be so much faster on the build overall. Look at that. The Starport add-on is going to be finishing. Already going to have a good 4 vultures out, laying those mines and getting that speed upgrade going as well. The speed upgrade, of course, crucial for trying to kill as many probes as you can. YSC just clearing the eggs now at his natural, make it a little bit more wide. Some additional mines going down here for our boys. Soso. I almost called him SOS. Oh man, missed that guy. Now an eBay as well as an armory going up. All very standard timings on these as well. Like, you never know. Here's a funny thing about these drop builds. If you don't get the engineering bay right away, occasionally a Reaver will just fly in and deal huge damage to you while you're dropping your vultures, because they actually hit it about the same time. Now, that probe may have seen the dropship, which would be painful indeed. He's actually got 2 Dragoons sitting in this mineral line. And in fact, going to put a pylon back there. Moving 2 Dragoons up here and 2 Dragoons to here. So these are all very good locations. When you think about it, the best places to drop would be like maybe down here, over here, right? And actually an underrated one would be in this general area, because then you have the option to either make a beeline to the main nexus or possibly even go down the ramp, which, you know, that's getting a little bit further out there. But sometimes, you know, it's like hiding in plain sight, right? Like, they kind of expect it to be on the sides. Either way, where is the dropship? There it is. Okay, so he does bring it into this location. That's going to be the most popular one, and does run in. He has that speed upgrade, so getting some probe kills here. You can see the probe count dropping now below Terran's SCV count, so he is doing a good job with this drop so far. We see a random siege tank out here. That's kind of like a funny thing to see. Might have been a bad rally. I'm not sure why that's there right now. Definitely doesn't feel like something that can be too useful. And we end up at 39 workers against 36. Nexus going down for YSC. Soso has to be happy with that. Continuing to add on more factories as well. Of course, he's got that armory up and going. The second gas also. And yeah, it does look like the game is probably just going to normalize from here. Command center getting started here. That's a pretty fast command center considering what has gone on this game, right? This was like a factory expand into a drop. And of course, armory and additional factories. But to get your third command center started that early, very, very nice. If he can actually, after getting that, quickly land it, then this is going to be a huge advantage for Soso in this game, right? Right now, it's like, I would generally call this an advantage for Terran. He got some good probe kills. Like, I think any Terran would probably like to play from this position, but sometimes it comes down to, can you get that third base actually mining after a move like this? And I would say, with the type of build he's using, yes, I think he certainly should be able to. Now, there is going to be Reaver Tech coming here for YSC. It's adding some additional gateways as well. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any timing attack opportunity open for him. He's had to rebuild a lot of probes at this point, and that is slowing down his economy quite a bit. Academy gets finished so that Soso can get a bit more intel there, going ahead and getting the science facility as well. Shuttle speed coming up. Might end up seeing some Wraiths come out here for Soso as well. Would not be surprised to see that. Honestly, like, I think in a situation like this, if you scan and see it's Reaver Tech, you should always make a Wraith. It's going to be extremely useful in different situations. It won't necessarily, like, counter the Reaver all the way, but definitely can clear things up, add to your missile turret defense. Just very, very mobile. You don't have to use factory build time for it. A lot of great upside to it. Now, some missile turrets being made as Soso very quickly is taking this third base. Third base landed at 9:30, and it's going to be mining in a moment here. Is pretty solid. Can't really complain about that one very much. All right, siege tanks and vultures being rallied down. He does have those 5 factories. Additional missile turrets going on. This is actually a lot of missile turrets. You can tell he's a little bit nervous about the possibility of some shuttles coming. That is actually where you're weak in a game like this. These gateways were a little bit later. You're not too worried about a huge gateway army right now, but you are worried about speed shuttles, right? You don't have... This is not the greatest defense. He doesn't really have any units that are in his main base. He kind of has to keep them out in the front, but he does have some missile turrets, quite a few. Has some mines there as well. So that's kind of the idea of what Soso is trying to do with those. Trying to get himself into a position where he can explode those factories a bit more. Certainly he's going to want to add 2 factories very, very soon here. Honestly, his building placement is a little bit sloppy. Like, these are definitely in the way. Understandable because he wanted the Sim City like that, but he's going to have to add a bunch of factories, so we'll see where he's able to fit them. All right, 2 more factories get started as predicted. Some vultures rotating around the map, looking for some harassment, but of course there are photon cannons around. You notice almost every location has some cannons out. And that is, of course, because there has already been drops in this game, so you want to make sure that's not going to occur to you anymore. 2-1 upgrades. Going to be finishing relatively soon here for Soso. YSC just clearing a few mines here. Losing a Dragoon, not a big deal. And here comes that double shuttle we were talking about. Look at that. And he gets rid of one immediately. Oh, man. The turret's actually doing such a good job here. Incredibly bad drop from YSC. You know, obviously he doesn't have a lot of vision, but he flew through the turrets exactly as Soso had planned. I got to tell you, this was very good. In fact, this one helped a lot. I think there's a decent chance he would have gotten up here with Reavers and done damage, if not for this really weird-looking turret right there. So, great job defensively here from Soso. He's up in that worker count. He's got a very solid 3 bases. He's got the 7 factories he's looking for. The 2-1 upgrades are about to finish as well. So, yeah, everything looks awesome. Looking down at YSC, he does have the 4 bases done, right? He does have... This is healthy probe. 66, we can't necessarily say 72 is better. We can't necessarily say it's worse either, right? There's different ways to play the game. But YSC is getting his 5th base up. He's getting a couple gateways over here, getting some photon cannons at that ramp as well to really slow down any incoming pushes. And he is roaming the map a little bit. Of course, he is up in supply still by a decent margin, but his actual quality of the army is not very high yet. There are High Templars being put in the shuttle, and as Psystorm finishes, that's going to make his army considerably stronger. But how does Soso want to play? Ah, the 4th command center coming up. By the way, looks like we do have a little bit of a drop coming down. Gets a few probes here and there. Looks like he actually ended up killing about 7 probes, so that is annoying. Some probes are going to need to be remade. You definitely do want at least mid-60s for these 5 bases. But right now, YSC clearing out a bunch of these mines. Honestly, I think Soso is playing such a nice game here. Would love to see him reorganize his tanks. A huge army over here, very small army here. So I think YSC might be able to get a bit of damage. Look at this. Gets in here, and he's fighting just a tiny fraction of Soso's army. So an excellent push comes in and eliminates 5 or 6 tanks here. Yeah, 6. I believe 6 tanks total. Maybe it was 7. But just kills those tanks off really quickly and then backs up, and our foothold over here is gone. So yeah, I think that right now, like, definitely you could see from Soso a little bit of repositioning. I think personally for Vermeer, once you have this secured and you're getting ready for your 4th base, if you move into this general area, right, you can put some missile turrets here, here, here. And if you're holding this general area, like, you kind of can react to anything that comes in. We'll see where he ends up deciding to go. Moves out with his army, floating that command center over as well. Definitely needs that base up. In the meantime, we have YSC clearing some more mines that did go out here from Soso. Trying to stay pretty active on the map there with his vultures. A lot of gateways. Double robo as well here for YSC, as well as double forge. Kadarin amulet on the way also. And he does take a more central area. You can see completely unsieged from here. I would like to still see at least 1 tank siege in that general area. But a good spread right now for Soso. Continuing to macro well. Has his 3rd add-on. Very, very important. 3-2 upgrades on the way. Transferring a lot of SCVs over to this base. You definitely want to super saturate your 4th base location, as is your latest one. But we have a High Templar drop coming in. Oh my god, this could be huge from YSC. Just flies right over those missile turrets. And not very good. Doesn't really get anything done there. Now, a massive attack comes in to this third base location. A lot of SCVs up there, and in fact, he will start storming them. You can see 8 kills, 5 kills, 9 kills going down on these on the SCVs. A huge amount of the economy gone from plus 70 probes to less than 60. So very, very good drop there from YSC. And, you know, it seems like Soso just having a little bit of a hard time defending the map, right? Like, the attack came in over here first. We saw him kill a bunch of tanks. YSC regroups, comes back through here, has a hard time defending his SCVs. His army always seems to be in the wrong location right now. But we do have a counterattack coming down from Soso, sending a mass amount of vultures over here towards the bottom right. Doesn't seem like he'll get too much done. You know, the Dragoon taking a lot of vulture hits there, and the vultures don't seem like they're going to be able to do anything really against this Nexus. That pylon actually screwing up AI immensely, and YSC will be able to kill off these vultures. So in the meantime, a pretty big Terran army moving down the map. YSC, by the way, setting up another base here in the top left. Wow, YSC really kind of taking control of this game, despite the fact I think the opener might have been slightly better for his opponent. You know, Soso right now trying to get an attack on, but the Psy Storm's looking a little bit too strong. Storm's going down on those siege tanks. D-Matrix goes down as well, but he just doesn't have the army size to hold on. YSC just rolling in the reinforcements, has his own 2-1 upgrades here to fight against the 3-2 of Terran, and he will end up clearing the entire army, maybe even the science vessels as well, which is incredibly painful. Very, very expensive units. You don't want to be losing those. Looks like he may, in fact, get out with them, so that's good at least. But loses a lot of supply. Now, that being said, 170, 130, that's still very playable for a Terran player, but the thing I'm worried about, right? We have 5 gateways here and a few cannons, so this base is very hard to kill. Let's look up here. High Templar up the ramp, 4 cannons at the ramp, and 2 gates, which will make mostly Dark Templar and High Templar to help secure this area. This is really hard to play against this Terran. Honestly, looking at this game, the way that YSC is playing it, the way he's got both other main bases, this should be, if Soso's going to win this, it should be a pretty long game. He's not going to have any attack timings that can kill anything. What he is going to have to do is decide, does he want to go horizontally or does he want to go vertically? Ooh, another storm drop coming out. Definitely some good kills there, down to 60 workers again. But yeah, he has to really decide about that, right? Like, where do you end up going? Do you secure this area? Like, you have to kill one of these other main bases and keep it away from Protoss, because if you let Protoss have both other main bases on any 4-player map, that is a loss for Terran pretty much every time at high level, right? It's such a defining feature of later game, you know, Terran versus Protoss on these 4-player maps, denying the other main base, just not letting your opponent have this location that has a huge amount of resources, a huge amount of room available, and a whole nother staging point for attacks. So continuing to macro out, as is YSC. Has that Stargate, but haven't really seen the Arbiter tech yet. I do think that's what he's going for. Some High Templars being dropped out here for some Psy Storms. Yeah, gonna throw the Storms down all over those tanks. Oh my god, just so efficient here for YSC. And of course, you know, there are enough tanks here and Vultures and Goliaths and everything. I don't think he's gonna lose this base. I don't think he's gonna lose his footing completely. But that trade's certainly better for a Protoss player when you look at the size of the economy. Even though he doesn't have that many workers right now, his spread of workers is very, very good still. And just the fact that he has both those main bases is incredibly scary here for Soso. All right, so resetting up. Soso needs to keep his quadrant, right? So we have this 4-base quadrant for him. And again, I feel like he is... I can't tell yet where he wants to go. It feels like he might end up going to the south, but there's a lot of action over here. This might be part of YSC's plan, is to keep action over in this area, which will make it easier for him to continue to mine in the bottom right. Even has a Dragoon kind of watching this location. Oh, yeah, he actually already had a command center. I missed this before, sorry, but it looks like he was planning on going down here and bringing his command center. So, yeah, that actually makes it even smarter that YSC was up here, right? Like, if you're poking and prodding this end, it's really hard for Terran to send units down and actually secure this base. But if we want to look at this and say, okay, how does each player win? For YSC, it's slowing down the 5th base. Okay? If you slow down the 5th base, if you continually trade, your mass amount of bases is going to end up paying off. For Soso, he needs to get a 5th base and then push in that direction, right? Like, you can have this be your defense, some very good mines, some missile turrets, some siege tanks. Very hard area for Protoss to really attack into. So you kind of keep this sieged up as you have it and then move your army down, take this 5th base, and then push in. But this base is pretty easy to kill. This one is not. So that's probably where the tension is going to come from. That, as well as possible counterattacks up into this area. Yeah, I think right now, definitely YSC favored. But Soso absolutely still has chances here. His supply is getting really high once again. You know, 4-base Terran with 3-2. Is absolutely no joke. In fact, it's even 3-3, even gets that 3rd armor, which sometimes does not happen even at the pro level. Now, the siege tanks moving down, getting on top of these cannons. There's a High Templar in here. Not any units being made in those gateways currently. More High Templars coming over. Morphin that Archon, going to try to get some drops in here as well, perhaps. No, just flies beyond, but gets picked off by a single Goliath. A little bit messy there. Now, here comes the army of YSC coming over. He wants to save this Nexus if he can. Actually moves to the north a bit more. Dragoon's only going down towards those tanks. That is not what you want. All the vultures up here. And, in fact, ooh, I'm getting some chills right now. This is great play from Soso. He's actually covering this area beautifully. And YSC realizes, uh-oh, I'm not going to save this base. I'm not going to be able to kill this base. So Soso is actually getting away with exactly what he needs. Exactly what we were talking about before. Expanding to your 5th and attacking in that direction. So he's going to deny the space, but can he get up here and push this space down? Realistically, I'd like to see YSC making units out of here. Okay, a High Templar. DTs are always very, very good at these type of expansions. Bring some more High Templars and a shuttle over as well. Now, Soso unsieging a lot of his tanks, a lot of vultures, a lot of science vessels, which, by the way, are very low. If he storms those, that's going to be a cash money storm right there. Both sides max, both sides on 64 probes. It's like a storm drop going to be going in towards this 5th base. Definitely a very good move right now. Slowing that economy down a bit. Actually doesn't get nearly as much as I thought. I think he ended up with like 5 SCV kills only. Very high energy High Templar there being left. And, oh, he actually does get it. Another storm drop gets suicided here into that 3rd base location. And you can see there's a lot. I'm going to zoom way out. I know you guys said during the TVT where I asked, the zooming out helps. It can help in games like this as well. You can see, right? There's a little attack here. Can he get that Nexus? No, it looks like that will be denied. The rest of his units coming in. Ooh, loses a high energy science vessel right there. There are some Psy Storms. Great EMP onto those High Templars. And you can see this army having a hard time getting up. Somehow, some way, Soso got up into position here. Doing a fantastic job. He's got to finish this Nexus off. That is going to be a very solid kill. A bunch of tanks did get unsieged, so I'm sure those will move forward. YSC still holding on. Looks like this Nexus gonna be targeted down there by YSC. So there you go. There you have it. Kills that base off. So he has killed 2 bases in the last couple minutes here. Definitely some big moves. In comes YSC's army, though. A beautiful spread right there. Zealot's taking quite a bit. Psystorm going down, getting one of those vessels. Still some... Ooh, he actually targets down a lot of the High Templars. So the siege tank's actually going to continue to hold this amazing position. I cannot believe that. I thought for sure YSC was going to pummel the rest of the tanks. But he saves them and will back them up. This is... I am actually getting chills right now, because this is very cool. It does feel like this can go either way. You know, YSC still has this very healthy base in the bottom right. Very healthy base. Top left has an Arbiter. This could actually be a game changer. I actually didn't realize. I know he prepared for Arbiters a while ago, and then the game kind of got hectic, but finally has that Arbiter out. Might not be something that's being thought of either. And in fact, it is going across the map. So we are going to pop back and look at that in just a second. Push coming down here from Soso, and here goes the recall. All right, gets a recall off. Ooh, the Psy Storms. 13, 14 kills plus 7 kills. 21 SCVs falling down to 2 Psy Storms right there. Targeting down on that command center as well. So this is a brutal blow right now to Soso. A very close game as he continues to push up this ramp. Looks like he wants to go ahead and take out the space. There are charge lots in here to draw splash damage on top of those siege tanks, though. So this might get held by YSC. It is a possibility. All right, comes in, trying to bomb out on top of everything. You can see those Zealots doing a great job drawing all the other tank hits. The Goliaths trying to micro to the side and let those die without inflicting massive damage upon them. YSC, you know, holding this area as well. I love what he's doing here. Just slowing down that base. You know, you really do need that base mining because this base is out, right? So you have this base and that's it. You need 2 mining bases as Terran in this matchup. Once you have those 3-2 or 3-3 upgrades, you really are looking to keep 2 bases up and mining. So that's something YSC has done fantastically this game. Just a great recall up at 12 o'clock. Holds this side, but Soso going to expand in the bottom right. Okay, okay. Deciding, you know what, maybe we're going to go split map with this. You can worry about the other base later on, but YSC moving in, getting hit by a few mines here and there. You know, it's a pretty big supply advantage, about 40 army supply more for YSC right now. But if he runs into one of these fortified positions, you're not going to be able to tell about that. Siege tank backing up. Yeah, more tanks coming up, but this is actually getting very small. Between the Archon and the Zealots, I think he is going to clean this up, and suddenly things starting to go wrong here for Soso. Gets some Zealots on top of these siege tanks, throws a storm down, not the best storm. Continuing forward, though, more storms onto these siege tanks, dealing a huge amount of damage to them. In fact, even dropping another one out there for another storm. He should have enough to get in here and kill off the tanks as well. They're being very efficient still. Great storm onto those SCVs as well as the tank. The remaining tanks here of Soso coming down to try to help as well. We're down to just 24 SCVs at this point. And YSC has denied this base dying, cleared most of the units, done a ton of damage economically. He killed the 12 o'clock base, and now he's killed this base as well. So there's no mining. GG, YSC takes game number 1.